Hello and welcome back to our how to paint Tau tutorial. Last time we kind of focused on our main kind of, I don't know if you want to call him like a sergeant, but the leader here as advertised by the little antenna on top, and we're going to be kind of continuing on with that. The plan is to kind of focus on just one unit at a time now, finish it up, and then we'll move on to the other ones. So we are going to start out with something a little different from last time. We're going to be doing our lead belcher, and I kind of want to focus on his backpack. That's kind of the key area that we need to really work on now. And then I also hope to be able to use a little bit of a wash today, just to kind of keep things moving forward as quickly as we can here in a reasonable amount of time. So getting a little bit of paint on our palette and making sure it's nice and thinned down. We're going to start out, and hopefully this doesn't get too janky. My hands are a little shaky today, but we will try our best to kind of prepare for that. And I just want to do kind of all this raised up area, and I think we'll kind of follow it down and around here to the bottom as well. And then we will come back, and I want to do kind of this middle bit. We'll do that blue as well, just to kind of highlight. And then I think we can kind of move on to doing a little bit more cleanup work, because the white that we did so many episodes ago now is looking a little bit patchy. We never really finished it off, so I definitely want to give that another layer. And we're doing some awkward angles. Excuse me, awkward angles here, unfortunately already, but we will try our best to kind of maneuver around and kind of give you guys the best view I can while we do it. I think I also want to do this bottom piece black as well, just to kind of continue with our look that we have already. I think that might kind of help a little bit. And actually, let me add a little bit more water into our brush. I can feel the pigment getting a little bit too dry. Now, I've talked about kind of Starfield and Bethesda games before. Something I'm really kind of holding my breath for, because I know it's not going to happen at this point, in terms of RPGs, is the remake of KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, which, if you haven't played, it's a little bit dated, it's a little bit hard to play, just kind of getting used to the controls and the gameplay and everything. But in terms of story, I think it's one of the best Star Wars games out there. Not so much the first one. The first one is fun. It's got a decent little plot twist and everything, and I don't want to spoil that. But definitely the second one is one of those like underrated masterpieces that Bethesda used to kind of be so good at making. Morrowind and all that before they became what they are today. Thanks, Todd. I love Todd Howard so much. He's really brought joy to all the things that I love. Regardless, though, there was, and I think there still is, a remake of the first Knights of the Republic in kind of limbo. It's kind of got like that Duke Nukem treatment going on, where it's just getting constantly stuck in development hell, which is great. I really love that. So excited for it, and then it's just gone. So we'll see if that ever comes out. But I bring that up, excuse me, because I've been watching like a lot of retrospectives, which I've talked about before. It's kind of how I spend my free time. But I've seen a lot on kind of Bethesda's games and like Dragon Age and BioWare titles. And I gotta say, nothing really does a good amount of like character driven narrative than I think KOTOR did. And that kind of falls in with a lot of titles that I've played and I've talked about before. My most recent gripe kind of being Starfield. That game's story is dreadful in my opinion, and I haven't played the newest DLC, but I hear it's kind of mediocre. But it's one of those things, right, where Bethesda has constantly tried to do like the whole your character is kind of its own thing. You kind of make it and play however you see fit. But then they give you all these quests and dialogue choices where you're kind of railroaded into doing the exact same things that they want you to every time. Like, look at Fallout 4, right? With the dialogue wheel being yes, no, yes, but later, and then you have like a sarcastic option, which was dreadful. I still hate the entire thing with the dialogue wheel changes. But that's meant to give you this sense of you can kind of do whatever quest you want and do whatever your character wants in terms of like dialogue. But then you look at a game like KOTOR 2, and it really is like you can just do whatever, and your character really is kind of your own, and that's just something we really don't have in modern gaming anymore. It makes me sad. Like every game kind of boils down to, at least every RPG kind of boils down to like a good option, a bad option, and that's really it. Like it's it's kind of sad, or it boils down into an illusion of a good and bad option, and especially with like Bethesda titles, it's more or less railroaded into you're kind of going along with whatever quest line you're meant to be doing. It sucks, man. It really sucks. That was one big thing about Starfield I hated, is that your character basically took on whatever like the faction you were playing kind of wanted you to. And we're gonna switch up paints a little bit here while I keep just talking to myself, I guess. Just venting. That's really all this is. Um, but that's just something I kind of wanted to mention, is that I one day hope that the KOTOR remake comes out and it's good, especially off the back of Dragon Age is coming out. Maybe it's already out. I don't know. I've been seeing a ton about it. I don't know if it's officially out yet though. Um, but it looks like it's fallen into that trap of the dialogue is very railroady, and you don't really get to choose your character in a grander sense. It sucks though. It really sucks. I feel like gameplay has kind of become very one-sided in a lot of these newer titles, and it's you have to play it how the developers want you to play, and it's not great. But I digress. That's my own little gripe. And while we kind of fill in the little backpack here, back to a more Warhammer related note, and something that's not just ranting, I guess. I've been reading a bunch more Warhammer recently. I kind of took a little bit of a break. Um, but I've been reading, I think it's book 16, 17. It's like all the Horus Heresy short stories. And the first one was like a Rabute Gulaman kind of writing the Codex Astartes, and that was a good little read. He was just running like battle simulations, which was kind of fun. Didn't really make a lot of sense until you got to the end of it. I talked about it previously. The next story I just read was actually a Alpha Legion story, which I gotta say, the more I read about Alpha Legion, the more I like them. They're actually really cool, and I kind of wish I got into them more. Um, but this dude basically shows up on like some backwater planet right in the middle of the heresy, and without doing like anything, in terms of like fighting, he just manages to take the entire planet over for Horus, just through like deception, and it was a really good read. It kind of reminded me of like 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, and it was written very well. So definitely check it out. I'd have to go back and see what the title of it was. I'll definitely do that for next time. But it's like book 16 or 17 of the Horus Heresy. It's right after Prospero Burns. So that's if you're into that sort of thing, then there you go. And actually, while I've been yapping to myself, I didn't realize I missed an entire chunk of this dude's arm, which is rather unfortunate. I'll take care of that now. And there we are. Speaking of Bethesda, though, on one hand, I kind of really hope for a Morrowind remake, or a Fallout New Vegas 2. That'll never happen, but it's my dream. Um, but it's one of those things where like I love Morrowind. It's a really great game, but it's really dated, and I would love a remake of it, or like a full on, like even just a remaster would be enough. But I kind of don't trust Bethesda to do it properly anymore, and it's really sad. And I really miss Obsidian. I really wish they got to work with Bethesda more, and they got to do more stuff, because man, they are a great studio, and what happened to them after the fallout of haha Fallout. Uh, Sorry, that was an unintentional pun. After the development of New Vegas, really makes me sad, because they did kind of get shafted by Bethesda. But I digress. That's an argument for someone else, I guess. And we are going to be moving on to our next coat. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I didn't have my paint with me on my desk. I had to search for it a little bit. So we are moving back to not rack white, Corax white, as it stands. And we're going to be cleaning up kind of our main kind of base layer, because it is well overdue a little bit of a overhaul from when we first applied it. So of course, making sure our paint is nice and thin. We're going to start out with kind of this little, I don't know what it technically is, like a little minigun thing, but the very top of it is looking pretty rough here. So I definitely want to kind of focus on that. And then the arms as well are looking just a little bit destitute, and that really needs remedied. And hopefully we can do that. I'm gonna have to do quite a little bit of editing there. There was just a good 2 minutes of me like searching for paint, so I'll have to cut that out. Shouldn't be anything too crazy though. It's just gonna be a weird little like transition. You'll see if you actually watch these. I know some people like listen to these, which is good fun too. Just listen to me ramble about random topics. But it's the same thing I like to do with YouTube. I'll if I'm like playing a game or something, or I'm doing like painting on my own, I'll just turn on something. It's like a 2-hour YouTube video, and I'll just sit back and relax and won't pay attention to what's going on on the screen whatsoever. So I totally get that, and I really vibe with that sort of thing. Speaking of YouTube, I watch it on my TV a lot. I use the YouTube TV app, and I've got to say, it is kind of rough. The absolute amount of ads that I get to see is ridiculous, and it really needs to be fixed. And a lot of them, like, you have to wait a good little bit to skip. Like, I usually get like mandatory like 30 seconds of ads, which it's YouTube. Like, I really miss the old days of you got like 5 seconds of ads and then you could just skip it, and that was perfect. And it was only at like the start of the video and the end of the video. Like, I remember turning on like a playlist and then just letting it go, and you just every once in a while you had to hit skip. Now you'll turn on a playlist and it's like every 5 minutes you got to pull your remote back out just to skip a video, and you always have to wait like the mandatory 5 seconds minimum. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 20. Like, it's really arbitrary. And of course it's political season, so it's all political ads, and it's not even like good ads. It's just the same ad over and over again for both sides. It's like, please stop. I really don't care. I don't want to see any of this. I just want to watch funny cat videos. But that's kind of the modern day consumerism, has led us into where we are now. Even watching like Hulu, which I pay for, I still get ads, which is great. It's really one of my favorite things ever. Thank you for letting me pay and then just showing me ads anyway. That's really cool of you, Hulu. I think even Netflix has sort of started doing that. I'm not 100%. I haven't really touched Netflix in a while. It's one of those things. I have like these streaming services, and I just do not watch movies ever, and it's kind of makes me question why I have them. But you know, that's the way it goes. The one time I actually want to watch a movie, I have to go through like 5 different streaming services because the one it used to be on, it is no longer on, and now it's moved. And then I end up finding out it's on like Tubi or something, just really obscure. Which I will say, Tubi's kind of cool. I think everything I've watched on there, which it seems like every movie I like keeps getting moved around onto there every once in a while. It is free. You just need an account. I think everything on there is free. It might be one of those ones where some of the stuff on there is premium. I don't really know. But, you know, I see ads on there, but at least I'm not paying to see them. Which, I don't know why I even pay for Hulu anymore. So there you go. That's my little gripe of the day. My second one, I guess. My first one was on Starfield, Bethesda in general. But that's always a gripe I have. God, I hate Todd Howard. It's kind of crazy if you look at his career. So he joined Bethesda like right out of college, and I feel like that's kind of part of his ego, because he went on to work on Morrowind after doing some Terminator stuff. And I will say he did good work, and he still does decent work. Like, I'm not gonna say that, you know, everything he does is bad. Um, but he went from working on Terminator as like a level designer, to working on Morrowind as like a one of the lead designers, I think. And then he goes on to Oblivion, where he's just like full on, in charge, which is absolutely insane to me. Like that short amount of time, and he's just running things now essentially. And then of course after Oblivion, he has like full creative control of basically everything they do now. So it's kind of ridiculous. All of that happened in a short amount of time, and I feel like he needs like a few stinkers to come out to really put him back in his place ego wise, because it seems like, and it's definitely the case of, you know, people see Bethesda and they automatically assume it's going to be a good title. Um, but it's one of those things where like this company can do no wrong, and I feel like that's kind of his mindset, unfortunately. And you know, there's plenty of pushback for all of their titles that come out nowadays. Like Starfield gets a lot of flack, but I just don't see the direction that they're going changing at all, and it makes me kind of sad. Like go back the way we were, you know, go back to Oblivion and Morrowind, and go back to those excellent designed games. But that's we're getting farther away from that, and we're leaning more into the, you know, Fallout 76 and Skyrim, or what is it called, Elder Scrolls Online, and it does bring me great sadness, but that's just my opinion, I guess. I know plenty of people like those games, but they just aren't what I'm looking for with Bethesda, unfortunately. And we're gonna do a little bit more of the top of this guy's frame here, and then we are gonna do just a little bit of detail work, on the eyes. And I think next time we're gonna do a wash, and then we should be done with this guy, which is kind of exciting. Because I'm ready to move on to the other two and finish those up as well. And actually, they're not too far off from being done either. This guy was actually kind of the farthest away from it, and I foolishly picked him to focus on first. So that will make things a little bit quicker. And then after that, I don't know what we're gonna do. I have plenty of more Tau. I do want to do a Space Marine, a Space Wolf at some point. I have him all set up and ready to go. I just need to kind of paint him, and I've never really done the current Space Wolves. I've done the Horsey era ones. They're fun to paint, but I haven't done the 40K version, so we'll definitely try that out. I think that'll kind of be our next project. And then I think after that I might pick up a Scaventide box. I've seen one for a pretty decent price, and I think I definitely want to try that out. The only problem with that is there's so many Skaven. I don't know if they're Skaven slaves or just the standard, like clan rats, but there's like 40 of them, And man, that would be an extremely boring time to paint. I feel like I'd have to do like an extra long video where I'm just knocking them out, and I kind of am not looking forward to that. But the Stormcast stuff, I definitely do want to pick up. I quite like Stormcast. I have a good handful of them already, and they're really fun to paint. They're very, very simplistic, but they are very good models. So we'll definitely check that out. And we're going to do one last paint here. This is, oh, if I can show it properly, Mephiston Red. We're going to be using a very, very tiny amount of this. And this will kind of lead us into the end of our video. I know I did quite a lot of ranting today. Maybe some of it was kind of pointless, and I didn't seem like I was going anywhere. That just kind of happens. It's Lego talk, right? I'm focusing more on painting than I am on talking. But I do want to say thank you guys very much for watching. It's been a great time so far. I'm really enjoying painting for you guys and just doing our tutorials and all of that. So it's good fun. It brings me great joy. Of course, I do have a Patreon. Link is in the description. If you guys want to help out and support the channel, that is a great way to do that. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff really helps me out a lot. But for now, that's kind of where we're going to leave things. We're looking pretty decent so far. There's just a little bit of cleanup we still need to do. Just kind of housekeeping, basically, tidying up. Next time we will do a wash, and then we should be done with this guy, and we can finish off our other two Battlesuits. So with that, I will leave you guys. And once again, thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully, I see you in the next episode.